Slang from 1699. Now, if you happen to have £4,000 or £5,000 going spare, you can actually bid on a first edition of this dictionary that is going up for auction today on the 28th of January. And it is the new dictionary of the terms ancient and modern of the Canting Crew. And these dictionaries were really popular. It lists all of the slang that was being used by the criminals and the ne'er-do-wells, so tourists and rich people could get a sense of what they were talking about. And even though I can't actually afford to buy this first edition, luckily it was reprinted and reprinted and reprinted, so we do know what is inside of it. And here are some of my favourites. A buttered bun means that you have been lying with a woman who has just lain with another man. I think that's what we would call sloppy seconds today. They called it a buttered bun. A buttock and file is both a whore and a pickpocket, but a bucket and twang is just a common whore, but not a pickpocket. I really like this one. Clicketing. That is what you call foxes doing the deeds. And if you've ever heard foxes doing it, they are loud. So if somebody is doing the deed very loudly, you would also say that they are clicketing. A cool lady is a wench that sells brandy in the camps. I'm going to assume that that is soldier camps, when women would follow around the army, earning money by doing their laundry, selling them food and drink, and selling them other things as well. But a cool lady was once somebody that sold brandy to soldiers. A bobcull is a sweet-humoured man to a whore, someone who is very complacent. Oh, see how long all of this beta and simping crap goes back? Yeah, they called that being a bobcull. A dirty puzzle is a sorry slattern or a slut. Now, this is back in the day where to be a slattern or a slut did not mean that you were promiscuous. It meant that you were dirty, that you were messy. So if your house is messy, you would be a dirty puzzle or a slut. To fib means that you hit somebody. And it gives us, in a little sentence here, fib the coves quarrons in the rum pad for the lower in his bung. And that means to beat the man in the highway justly for the money in his purse. So if you're telling somebody, don't you fib to me, back then they'd have thought that you meant that you were going to punch them in the face. I've included this one here for the Vinted fans. So if you are a well-rigged frigate, you are a well-dressed woman. Frigid is a crap husband, but that's not the bit very interesting. Frippery is old clothes. So if you're going on Vinted to sell your frippery so you can look like a well-rigged frigate. If you call someone a hussy today, you mean that they're like loud and brash and probably a bit promiscuous, but it's actually, originally, it's a contraction of housewife. This one's just really sweet. Marriage music, and that means children crying. And this one might actually be my favourite. So it gives muff, and that is the same definition that it is today. It defines it as a woman's secrets, a muff. But then it gives us this quite extraordinary toast that you could use down the pub tonight if you wanted to the well-wearing of your muff mort. And that means to the happy continuation of your marriage, madam. To the well-wearing of your muff mort. Love it! This one I think is clever. You'd say of someone that